Hi, I'm Rocco Staino, and welcome to KidLit TV and Publisher Spotlight. I'd like to welcome Ellen Myrick back. So good to see you, Ellen.
Thank you, Rocco. It's great to be here.
Yes, I don't know how many years we've done this, but this is
8.
always 8.
8.
Oh my,
yeah.
oh my.
I do know.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're keeping track.
Yeah.
And about how many books are we going to be talking about today?
Oh, that's a really large number.
A large number.
Yeah,
Well,
I think about 50.
Okay, well, without further ado, let's begin.
That's great. But let's have a quick ado. And if you comment at all during this broadcast, then you might actually win a gigantic book bundle. So I just want to mention that. If you see a book you like, you can comment on that. If there's one that you're just curious about, comment on that. But let's get started.
And there is a hashtag.
Oh,
It
yes.
is hashtag Pub Spotlight Showcase 25.
All right, now that the adieus have been done, we'll move on forward. That was terrible French, which is actually even more terrible because this book is from France. This is the Ordinary Life of Jacominus Gainsborough from a new publisher to the U.S. called Post Wave Children's Books. The first season is starting this month. We are now in March, and this is such a gorgeous book. And I have to tell you a secret. Can I tell you?
Please,
it's not,
please.
It's not going to be a secret for long, is it? I saw this book at the Bologna Children's Book Fair 2 years ago, and I fell in love. And I was just waiting for somebody in the U.S. to do this book. How lucky I am that I got to work with it and it finally came here. So you'll see what I mean. This is about this little rabbit and his somewhat ordinary life. You can see how beautiful this is. Can you spot little Jacominus? Is it that tiny little rabbit there? Maybe, maybe. And let's go on to the next one because these illustrations are so, I mean, come on. How can you not just fall in love with this little guy? So he's a very ordinary little rabbit, and he has a little tumble, and his leg becomes weak because of it, but that doesn't stop him. Here are some snapshots from different memories of his life. And as you can see, this is kind of French art, French philosophy, all put up in a children's book. And I think there's something in here for everybody to enjoy. And here we go. We see him, reading his book with his little crutch there next to him. And I wonder if you all can think of who might have inspired this particular painting. If you have an idea, you can put it into the comments. Rocco, do you know who might have inspired that?
Sunday in the Park with George.
George Seurat. I think
Yes.
maybe that might be it. But this is just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous book. It has an amazing book feel, and it's about celebrating the little moments of life for what they are, and knowing that they lead to a very, very rich life indeed. So here we see him at the end, after all the wonderful adventures he's had and the friends he's made, relaxing under the almond tree. And then when he finally does depart, you have this wonderful accounting of his life. 293 family picnics. Don't worry, I'm not going to read them all. 78,364 unforgettable dreams. 1,394 sudden realizations. 73 changes of opinion, which I think is kind of a miracle. I do that in a day. A few big fears, 19 births, and I think that number is 3,124,194,780 memories, to be exact, all in the ordinary life of Jacominus Gainsborough.
Oh my, that's very interesting.
Isn't it? Well, you've got another book.
Speaking of interesting, for budding artists, we have a book called Abracadabra.
Well said.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Yes. Yeah. And so this is a book that kind of explores color, shape, perspective in a very fun way. And it's very interactive. And let me see. I have a few things. Like right here, we have great overlays. Terrific overlays that we can use. And what do we have here? Oh, I don't know. There's let's see what's underneath there. Whoa, yes.
Ooh.
So much activity in a book besides reading, yes.
So I think art teachers would love this.
Yes.
Anybody who's interested in art would love this book.
It's a great
You don't
book.
have to be a kid.
Yes.
There you go. Next up from Flores Books, we have The Paper Bridge, and you're getting a little sneak peek here, this is going to be the cover of one of the March issues of Booklist. So take a look for this one. This comes to us from Flores, based in Scotland, and by Joël Vérank and Sengsun Ratavana. And this is a story about a little girl who lives in a paper village. You're thinking, what? How is that possible? It is, do you know what kirigami is?
Origami?
Well, kind of. Good
Oh.
start. So it's like origami, except it's origami and cut paper.
Uh-huh.
So that's kirigami. It's cut and folded paper. So this is an entire community built of kirigami. And as you might imagine, a danger if you're in an entirely paper community is that sometimes you might get blown away by the wind. So they all wear stones in their pockets to keep them from being blown away. But one little girl notices that the winds are becoming bigger and stronger. And so she has to solve the mystery of what is happening. And she builds a paper bridge with the help of some friends across to the other mountain where these big winds seem to be coming from. And once there, she discovers another girl in another village. There she is right there, who is amazed that there's a paper village across the way. And it turns out that they have these elephants who are blowing these windmills that are creating these big winds. And they come up with this great solution, and that is to put the windmills on the other side of the mountain. Easy, right? And that way they can actually have their wind-free existence on the island with all the kirigami, and they get everything they need in order to do their windmills. So this is the paper bridge, and then there's a little bit of explanation in the back about kirigami and the art of kirigami. And I mean, just look at how gorgeous this book is. This is a book to truly treasure. And I don't know if you can tell, but this actually has a die cut on the front. So it's got that little extra bling. And you've got a beautiful book from Flores as well.
And you know, the fun thing about doing Publisher's Spotlight is that you have books from around the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and you know, and this book, Blue Sky Morning, right, you know, talks about just going out into your neighborhood and walking around your neighborhood. And the amazing thing is I'm looking at some of the drawings of the neighborhood, and it looks like a neighborhood here. But I actually found out that it is probably in Seoul, Korea.
It's in South Korea, yeah.
But some of the illustrations are really impressive because here we see the young girl looking up. And then when we turn the page, we see what she's looking at. Wow.
So beautiful.
Yes. So thanks
And
for bringing that.
Yeah, and I want to point out that's from the same author-illustrator who did The Depth of the Lake, The Height of the Sky, which was on a lot of best of the year lists. So yeah, it's a gorgeous one. Next up, I have Cuento de Luz, which is a publisher based in Madrid, Spain. And this is The Vase with the Golden Cracks, and in Spanish, El Jarrón de las Gritas Doradas. So that is in English and Spanish because they're a publisher based in Spain, as I said, and they always do books in both English and Spanish. So another thing which I love to tell people about this particular publisher is everything is printed on stone paper. And you're thinking, how is that possible? You'll just have to see it to believe it because it is beautiful and it has a really lovely texture to it as well. So this is The Vase with the Golden Cracks. Seems like we're spending a lot of time with Japanese art today, which is not a terrible thing. Actually, it's a lovely thing. So here we have a boy and his father, and every day he would put his hand in the vase and pull out a carefully folded piece of paper in which one of these special words, a word that has a meaning only in that language, would come out. And almost magically it was always a new word. So there's that. And they put it in this beautiful vase. You can see that this is a thing. The word that sparked my interest so much was ikigai. It was a word created to refer to our mission in the life, the one that makes us wake up every day full of joy. We can all find our own ikigai. All we have to do is look for it because we'll definitely find it. It didn't take me too long. Well, then the next thing that happens, and it's a sad thing, is that he, as often happens, he bumps and he breaks the golden vase. What's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen is kintsugi, which is the art of repairing something with this beautiful gold glue, And it actually is even more beautiful than it was before. So they refill it with all the letters, and this becomes a treasured heirloom of his family, and that is his ikigai. And I'm trying to turn the page because there you can see as he's an older man and he's remembering all these beautiful things he's learned and how he's sharing them. And then finally we see that this is, thanks to him I've known from when I was a child, my ikigai would be to share with other people, little by little, all the wisdom contained in those words that I discovered every day. They stayed inside me too, just like in the vase with the golden cracks. Something else that really delights me about this book is that we have in the back a glossary that is of Japanese words in a book from a Spanish publisher. So this is truly a multinational experience. And you've got another book from them.
Yes. And, I did take Spanish for quite a number of years. So I know what that primos means cousin. It's part of a series of books. Some of the other one are hermanos, familia, Papa, abuelos.
Yes.
So it's all about family.
You know about that. You're an abuelo.
I guess, yes, I am. Yes. And so it's all about families. And so cousins. So this is about cousins. And there's nothing more fun than having an extended family. And even if you don't have true cousins, you can have honorary cousins.
Oh, sure.
But anyway, this it kind of explores the family dynamics. It explores family dynamics.
Well, and there aren't that many books about cousins.
No,
So
yes.
thank goodness primos are getting their due, finally, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so that is
And
great.
remember, hashtag Pub Spotlight, make a comment. You can win a chance to win a huge book bundle curated from today's showcase. And who knows, this one may be in there.
And you might even be able to share it with your primos if you win. So there you go. You can share it with your cousins.
One for each primo.
Yeah, there you go. Next up, Tiger Tales. Tiger Tales is doing some great picture books these days. And this one has already gotten some lovely reviews. This is Our Tree. So this one's got great book feel. I know I say that about a lot of books, but it's because they do. And books should feel good in your hands, right? So when they do, you should celebrate that moment. And this is by Jacominus. And one warm day, tree felt the pitter-patter of tiny feet dash at their trail. It's Little Red. Little Red is a squirrel. Little Red starts to feel very, very possessive of this tree, which is not really the way you're supposed to treat other people, right? So when other animals and creatures want to come and hang out on the tree and be part of the community with the tree, Little Red is not having any of it. And then there's the day that Little Red falls from the tree, which doesn't often happen to squirrels, but when they get too full of themselves, that can happen. And what happens? Falls on a leopard. Oh no, what's gonna happen? Well, the leopard basically chases the poor little rat all the way up, and all the other creatures swarm the leopard and save their little friend. And then Little Red realizes that, it's our tree. It's not my tree. It's our tree. So.
Yes, and I have a book here by Red Comet.
No, you don't.
I don't.
No, you don't. You have things out of order a little bit.
Oh, my.
So I'm going to go to Tortosaurus for a minute while you review your list. So here is Tortosaurus, and this is a story about a book about a little girl who's having her first day of school. We have a couple of these first day of school books. And this is on that first day of school, that thing where you have to tell something about yourself that nobody else knows, or something that you like about yourself? Well, in this case, this little girl, sorry, my paper clips have gotten jammed up. She's so excited at the moment when people are talking about their special pets, and her special pet is a tortoise, but then that thing happens when the person that goes right before you says the thing you were planning to say, and what are you gonna do? So what does she do? She kind of tells a little bit of a fib, and she tells everyone that she's got a tortosaurus. And then she brings him into the classroom. She basically tapes some stegosaurus-like spines on his back, and then nobody seems to see through the deception, and the tortosaurus becomes this huge celebrity in the community. And oh my goodness, this poor little tortoise gets a little bit tired of all the attention. And so he is spending some time trying to escape it. And then there's the day when he decides he's going to outrun all the tortoise things he does. Here we go. All of them fall apart. They fall off. And he's left without any of the spines. And she's like, why would you do this to me? And she realizes that he did not really want to be a celebrity. He just wanted to be her tortoise. So then she makes friends with a little boy who also has a tortoise. And you know what? That can be a lovely thing too. So in the end, she got a new friend. So you're going to tell us about Mr. Norton's new hat?
Yes,
well
Mr.
done.
Norton, a person that I admire because he's a dapper fellow just like me, and he gets a new hat. Okay, and I could use a new hat because sometimes top of my head gets a little cool.
No.
Yes, believe it or not. Okay. But unfortunately, Mr. Norton gets a visitor in his new hat, and it happens to be a mouse who decides to make the hat his house. Bad enough that other creatures decide to sort of move in on Mr. Norton. And it becomes certainly a little problem for him, but he gets to meet various creatures, even though he's not very happy about it. But anyway, it is a fun book about a dapper guy, Mr. Norton.
And you know what? There's another new Mr. Norton adventure coming up next season.
Oh, no.
Yes,
really?
We're going to learn more about him. He's such a kind and generous guy. Would you like to do Changing Tides and get us back on track?
Changing Tides.
Yeah,
yes, Changing
cool.
Tides. Yes. Well, you know, this book is about blending families, and which happens a lot. And it's about a Lulu's family go and on a vacation, and then there's Theo, and whose mother is also joining them. Theo and his mother are also joining them on vacation, and they're kind of like not really, you know, blending together, even though they want the family to become blended.
What, the Brady Bunch wasn't real?
Well, yes, you know, and
Okay.
then. Yes, Lulu decides, what do you do at a beach? What does, besides go in the ocean and enjoy the waves? Well, one of the things you want to do is to build a sand castle. And so Theo is watching Lulu build the sand castle and decides that he could help by digging a moat around it and starts to add different things. And they end up with a magnificent sandcastle, which is just the first building that they begin as a blended family.
Oh, they've got a foundation.
Yes.
Aw,
There
that's
you go.
nice.
Yes.
Wow, beautiful. So this is another story about two people, or in this case, two bunnies, who often stand in for people. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
books and kids'
Yeah, they
books,
do,
yes.
especially in children's books. But these two bunnies are having a day, and what happens, this is just one more story. Gosh, I wonder why this audience would like this book. So, Pip was a bunny who loved to read. Bun was not. Bun is dead to me. I'm kidding. Bun is fine. Books are so boring, he huffed. You have to sit still and be quiet forever. So off he bounced to play by himself, but it wasn't long before he got interested. Can we play now, asked Bun. Not yet, Pip replied. Well, now, let me finish this page now. Does anyone relate to this story? If you relate to this story, please remember our book bundle and comment below. So Bun keeps getting put off, and eventually Pip learns how to involve Bun in the story. And once he does that and starts reading aloud to little Bun, and then they start making up their own stories, then it becomes much more interesting for his little friend. And they have a very, very rich and wonderful time in this land of stories. Hey, there's some carrot cake. That looks delicious. And they enjoy, of course, they enjoy carrot cake and all the other wonderful things come together with it. And then they're good friends at the very, very end. And that is just one more story about sharing your love of reading with a friend who maybe is not as excited about that, but may be excited about spending time with their friend reading. And hey, look, there's a tiny little library in here, a little free library. Do you have a little free library?
Oh, all over the place.
I have a little free library. I love it. So this is just one more story. And speaking of just one more story, we have about 40 more to go, but why don't you tell us about that one?
Okay, and this is a sequel because my friend Hank,
Honk.
No,
Honk. Hank goes honk.
Hank goes
That's
honk.
the first one, yes.
Yeah. Oh, Hank goes honk. is
Hank
the
goes
first
honk. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I'm saying I know him as Hank. But yes.
His name is Hank. You were right.
Yes. So anyway, yes, and he's happy to be here. Yes, and
Yes.
he goes along with the book, A Pesky Goose. Yes, nothing worse than a pesky goose. That now he went honk, but now he goes peck.
Looks like you already pecked the front of that book.
Yes. He pecks, peck. Yes, and I don't know. You know, you could peck and you can peck, and you kind of can make people annoyed. But, you know, it could lead to something, you know, and he could end up pecking the wrong farm animal. Yes. Happens to be a bull. Yes. So, are you still together? Yes, he is. But did he learn his lesson? I probably don't think so, because there probably wouldn't be another sequel.
Well, there is another book coming, Hank Meets Frank. So, spoiler alert, he does survive the encounter with the bull.
That's right.
Yes, so that is a good thing. All right, and you have the next book, which is The Great Zoo Hullabaloo.
Great Zoo Hullabaloo. Yes, now that's a great word, hullabaloo.
It is a juicy word.
Yes, it is. And so, you know, you go to a zoo, and what do you expect to do at the zoo? Well, you expect to see animals. But by the look on their face, what they expected is not what they got. The zoo is empty, and they're kind of roaming the zoo.
A sick day for the whole zoo.
Yes, but they hear, and what we have here are musical notes. So there is music coming from somewhere, and they keep following the noise. They keep following the noise until they reach the zoo hullabaloo, where everyone is having a grand time celebrating. And you know what? It is a birthday party for Ruby.
Aww.
Yes.
Is that a carrot cake?
Oh, and this is the book that had the carrot cake.
Yes.
You know, we
so many
actually,
carrot cakes.
In today's selections,
Yeah.
there were at least carrot cakes that
yeah.
showed up. Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And this is from a new publisher.
And which is?
New Frontier, a new publisher named New Frontier. They're not new in the big world because they've been in Australia for 20 years, but they've been in the US since 2017, and we're delighted to be working with them now. So that is that one. And then we have Mr. Darcy the Dancing Duck. Now, if you're like me and you've been reading Jane Austen since you were 13 and completely obsessed and celebrate December 16th as if it were your Saint's Day, then you will know that it is a semi-sesquicentennial of Jane Austen's birth coming up this year. She was born in 1775. So, and if you want to introduce small children to Pride and Prejudice, but not really get into the whole Wickham thing, then this is a great way to get started with some of the names of those characters. So we have here Mr. Darcy, who is in love with Lizzie, of course, because that is the point of the story, is it not? And we have him going there, and he's wearing his top hat. That's how you know he's Mr. Darcy. And Lizzie is doing this very cool maypole dance. And she says, hey, do you want to come dance? And I don't know if you know this, but maypole dances are hard.
They are.
Yeah. I mean,
You could get tangled.
you get tangled, all sorts of terrible things can happen. And he is not happy because he looks kind of embarrassed. And Mr. Darcy in either universe really doesn't like to be embarrassed. So what does he decide to do? Does he just slink away? No, his friends teach him how to dance. So he works really, really hard at it, and eventually he learns how to do the maypole dance himself. So he is not embarrassed to be seen dancing with his lovely Lizzie. And at the end of the day, everybody And it's happily ever after.
And when you
As
read
it
this
should.
book, do you have the...
You have to drink tea, yes.
Tea, you drink tea, yes.
Yeah,
And do you have
totally.
maple, dance music?
A cotillion, maybe.
A cotillion music, yes.
Yeah, something-
Okay, yeah. A maple, but is there maple
waltz.
music?
I don't know if there is maypole music, but I'm
maypole.
sure that some Morris dancers could enlighten us. If you
Yes.
know the answer to that question, please
Yeah.
comment below.
Comment
And you might
below.
also win the big book bundle.
Right, Publisher Spotlight
Yeah,
Showcase
that could be a thing.
25. Pub
could be a thing.
Spotlight Showcase
And I've got the next
25.
book, so-
You have the next book,
So
but I'm
yes.
holding this one.
You're
because
holding that
I
one.
Yes, I
You're
like
so
this
excited
one.
about that one. I'm excited about this one, which is Dear New Friend. And this is by Red Comet Press, which is based right here in Brooklyn. Well, not right here, but
In New York City.
A few miles away.
Yeah.
So this is Dear New Friend by Tarnay Matloob and Alida Nasseri. And it is so beautiful. This is a story about a child thinking, if you were my friend, I would invite you to my home. And I would show you all these beautiful things in my home, and my grandmother would fix food for you. And it's just somebody wanting to share their family and their culture with somebody else. And the illustrations for this, I think you'll agree with me, are just absolutely exquisite. Tarnay Matloob is actually a professor in Iowa. And I think this is their very first book. So are you paying attention, Ezra Jack Keats people?
Mm-hmm.
And please look at this book because it is gorgeous. And here's something you don't often see in a book. She says, I'll even introduce you to our room of rugs because this is Persian. So wouldn't you love to have a room of rugs like this? I mean, come on,
Oh,
Rocco.
boy.
I mean, just so gorgeous. I have a friend who's a Persian, and he always talks about Persian hospitality, and this book actually really models that in such a beautiful way and is absolutely gorgeous. And have you ever heard about the Indies and the Indie Awards? It's Travis Yonkers does this. These are books that are given awards for having really cool things that are under the case wrap or in papers. This one, I think, is a contender for the Undie. Ooh, Wow. Or maybe the Indie, because look at those.
No.
Gorgeous, right? So that is Dear New Friend. Okay, now tell us all about Downpour.
Downpour, yes, for you people that enjoy weather. Yes, I love a book that features an umbrella.
Which we always have at least one a year.
Yeah, and so Downpour, splish, splash, kerplash. And one of the reasons I like this book is it gives me an opportunity to bring out the KidLit official umbrella from James Smith and Sons. I get to open it and hit myself in the face with it. Yes.
Wow. Now,
Yes.
is that the James Smith and Sons in London?
In London, this came all the way from London.
Wow.
Feel that handle. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
It's a serious handle.
I've used this in the rain here on KidLit. Actually, we went
In
out.
here? That seems bad.
Outside. We
Oh,
went
okay, good.
outside and it was raining and I was able to bring this umbrella and it saved me.
And you live to tell the tale.
And I live to tell the tale.
That's great.
But rain. You can enjoy rain with or without an umbrella, and our character in this book does do that. Yes, and so it is. There's nothing like. Well, here he is. Here he is, looking like me with the umbrella, but then he decides to actually go splish splash and enjoy the rain falling on him.
And it just seems to bring back that joy we had as kids of just going out in the rain and letting it wash on you. You don't have to be a child or Drew
That's
Barrymore
right.
even if you want to just dance in the rain. So yeah, and I love the onomatopoeia in this one as well.
Yes.
Splash, splish, splash. There's so
Splish,
much
splash.
drip drop, all the good words.
Yes, there you go.
Excuse
Looking
me.
for a sunny day. No.
And speaking of water, I have more. This is from Child's Play, and this is Water Songs. So this is a follow-up to Tree Whispers, which is an absolutely gorgeous book. And this is a whole, as I said, it's a cascade of water poems. So we sing our water songs. Crick cracks the ice and soft falls the snow. Whirl swirls the blizzard and harsh bites the sleet. Rumble growls the thunder cloud. Drop starts the rain. Pitter patter, falling faster. Ripple hums the lake. Hurry, sing the little streams. Rush run the rivers. Tumble roll the waves, and crash roars the sea. So these are just a few of these beautiful water poems. And you can see the illustrations are just lovely. Any book that includes the Northern Lights, I am all for that. Anytime you can have an aurora, you should.
That's true.
Have the aurora.
Have you seen the Northern Lights in person?
have,
Yes,
many
of
times.
course. Many times. Listen to her. Many times.
Our voices
yes.
of the future. Hey, very lucky. Good timing. So there you go. That is Water Songs from our friends at Child's Play. And then next up, we have a really, really special guest.
Yes, we do. Yes, Kirsten
So,
Cappy.
yeah,
Yes.
so I'm gonna-
I am so happy that Cappy is here with us. Kirsten Cappy, yes. And she's going to tell us about her book, Kende, Kende, Kende.
Hello, Rocco.
Hello, welcome to KidLit TV.
You're so
and
much-
Publisher Spotlight. And if people comment about Kende, 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 they have a chance to win a huge book bundle from today's show. And this may be in their book bundle.
I hope so.
Yes,
If not, you message me and I'll send you one.
Yes, and so no, that's a word I'm not familiar with, Kende.
Well, it's a pretty amazing word, and it comes from an area of the world in Central Africa.
Uh-huh.
If you look at the map, it comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is one of the biggest countries in the world. It is actually like 3 times the size of Texas. And if you see it there, and they speak many languages there, but one of them is Lingala. And Kende is go in Lingala. And Yaya Gentil, who is my co-author, was an early childhood teacher in the DRC, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and she brought all of her love of language, both the French language, Lingala, and English are all wound into this book together.
And in a little while, we'll talk about the various languages.
do.
Yes.
Yes.
But you just put this, it looks familiar. Yes, we have a wheelbarrow.
So our heroine in this book is lowly, and even from a very young age, her parents knew that she loved to kende, kende, kende. She loved to go, go, go. She liked to go fast, and when she got older, she convinced her father to push her around in the blue wheelbarrow.
Right.
And but what's interesting about Lingala in English, which is what we're speaking, I hope. I hope we're speaking English.
Some people say I'm talking Brooklyn, but that's okay.
That's okay. I can translate into Brooklyn. So go in English, we say can be joyful. We say like let's go out in the rain and play with your umbrella, or it can be worried and hurried like we have to go. And it's the same in Lingala. So Kende, go, she loves to go. It's part of her joy. But there is a point in the book very early on where something happens in Congo, and it's been happening for 20 years. It's a really troubled country, a beautiful country, but troubled. And some of that trouble comes too close. And Mama says, Tosen, Jelly, Konkende, which means we really have to go. And so this whole book is a series of journeys and vehicles that bring this beautiful family from their home to a refugee camp. And then zooming off in an airplane to come here to North America. And North America has some weather that the Democratic Republic of Congo does not have.
Right.
Which is snow. Lots of snow. And there is a point, see the papas in the DRC know how to push trucks out of deep sand and mud. But when the family gets to North America and they have to get to the hospital quick because mama's going to have a baby, they discover something completely different, which is deep, deep snow. And Rahana Daria, who did the illustrations for this book, she was born in St. Lucia. She's raised in London, lives in London now. She's never seen snow like this, so we had to send her a lot of pictures of how deep and crazy snow can get in the city. So it is about how a community of mamas comes out of the blizzard to help them. Kende, kende, kende.
Kende, kende, yes. Yeah. And you are involved with a nonprofit.
Yeah, I run a nonprofit with a group of amazing human beings called I'm Your Neighbor Books. It's a group of librarians and authors and teachers and immigrant community members. And the whole purpose of the nonprofit is to create a culture of welcoming and belonging in our schools so that immigrant kids feel like they belong in our spaces, or new generation kids, as they grow older, feel like this is the place that they want to be and that they can show every part of their identity in their school spaces. And so we use books to do that because it can be really lonely to come to the United States and suddenly all the things that you knew before are gone. But when you see your community reflected in a book, you feel a really crucial and heartfelt sense of belonging. And so many people are coming to the United States from the Democratic Republic of Congo. In fact, 5.6 million people have been displaced from the Congo, which is sort of like more than half of the population of New York City, where we are. If you could just imagine all of those people on the road and on the run. So this book was produced with my good friend Yaya and with Rahana Daria, and I wish they were all here, because not only did we work on the book, the three of us together with the incredible team at Child's Play in the UK, but we did something I'm not sure has ever been done at a book before. Did you see this part in the front?
Oh, yes, I know what it is.
Yeah?
We were talking about languages. Oh, is that what you're talking about?
I think so,
the QR codes.
Yeah.
So tell us about the QR codes.
There's a series of squares that run along the first pages, and each one represents a major language from Central Africa. So we worked with 3 teachers, 2 journalists, and 1 artist from Central Africa, and we translated the book, and then we recorded it in those languages. So you just have to pop up your phone, scan one of these codes, and you can hear things like my friend Jean Hakazima reading in Kinyarwanda, which is the language of Rwanda.
Right. So there are 3, 6, 7?
7.
7 languages.
Because we want to be welcoming of families when they are first arriving, and when English is not quite on the top of their language list.
And one of the languages is English, right? Yes. So they could actually listen to it in their language and then listen to it in English.
Yeah, and it is French and English on the page so that you have that grounding of those languages. There's even Lingala on the pages, but one of the teachers said to me, why don't you read it in English and put it there? Because part of language learning is hearing from an original speaker.
So just going back about the, what are the book bundles called again?
Oh, yes. So I'm Your Neighbor Books builds welcoming libraries.
Welcoming libraries, yes.
There they are.
Yes.
They are curated collections of acclaimed picture books set in the immigrant new generation community. We have this beautiful pop-up book display 30 picture books, and we put discussion questions in the back and papers so that you can be more comfortable reading outside of your community or culture. And we pack those in 2 red crates, and we loan them all over the country. And right now, there are about 25,000 Welcoming Library books circulating throughout the United States, and they're to sort of tip the balance, to disrupt our thinking, to say this, yes, we have the history of Ellis Island, but right now, this is what migration looks like. This is what our new generations in this community look like.
And people can get more information by going to
imyourneighborbooks.org, because we're a nonprofit.
I'm Your Neighbor Books.
I'm Your Neighbor Books.
Is there an apostrophe or not?
You can't put them in a URL.
Okay, we are just
So
letting people know it's
Your Neighbor Books.
Yeah, right. Just to clarify that.
Don't use any punctuation.
Gotcha.
Terrible things will happen.
Well, thank you. No, thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us
It's
today.
such a joy to be here,
Yes.
and with you and Ellen.
Yes.
You do a glorious job
And
creating discovery for books.
And don't forget your wheelbarrow.
I won't forget my wheelbarrow.
Yes.
Or Loli will be very upset with me.
Yes. Thank you. And we'll be right back. We have a book trailer. Ooh. Yes. This is so exciting. So let's go to the book trailer. And Ellen, you're back.
I'm back.
Yes, thank you so much for coming back. But you just wait there,
Well,
because I'm going to talk about a book.
Well, but I do want to say one thing about the fluffy little seed, fluffy fine seed. That's from the Think Big, Start Small. Actually, I have that backwards. Start Small, Then Think Big series from Red Comet Press, and that was the world premiere of that particular book trailer. So
Oh, that's
how cool
so
is that?
exciting.
Thank you,
Yes.
Red Comet, for letting us do that here on KidLit TV.
Yes,
Yeah.
and if someone comments, yes,
true.
they may
win
a huge book bundle, and that may be in the book bundle.
And you could include a fluffy little flying seed.
Yes, and remember to use the hashtag.
Is Pub Spotlight Showcase 25.
Yes, waha.
Okay, now you can start talking about the play date.
Yes, from Lantana.
From Lantana,
Yes,
yeah.
the play date. And who parents know, or people that have small children know that they get so excited to go on a play date. And so this is about a young girl who goes with her mother to her friend's house for a play date. And the interesting thing, and the girl is so excited to go to Henry's house. And, they prepare to go, and her mom gets ready, and Henry has a dog and has a very nice house, and she goes there, and while she is there, her mom is cleaning the house because her mother is the housekeeper, and she gets to go over to Henry's house while her mother plays, and she just loves the house, loves Henry, loves the dog, loves all of Henry's toys. Yes, and Henry has so many toys that she decides that she should take one home. When her mother finds out, her mother isn't happy,
Very disappointed.
disappointed.
Hardest thing to ever hear from a mother.
Yes, and talks about having to give it back, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. But this is a story about two children who know each other, but are from different socioeconomic stratas, and who are friends. And it's a very heartwarming story.
It is, and it also shows how sad the mother is that she can't provide all those things for her daughter, but they'll get through it together. It's just beautifully done. Lantana has such a lovely way of finding these stories that nobody else is telling and sharing them. Another one like that is, this is the third installment in the Intisimi Warriors series of books. And this is, the first one was Macaulay and the Forbidden Mask, which was a Georgia State Book Award honoree. This is also taking place in Kenya, and Shiko Nguru is actually from Kenya, lives there right now, and has always been fascinated with East African mythology. So this book takes you deep into that, and this is in a world that is kind of like this world, but it's sort of a parallel world where there are mysterious monsters roaming the streets, and of course it's up to the 12-year-olds, as it always is, to save us. And they do, but they have to stop the life drinkers from drinking the life from their mentor who is guiding them through this otherworldly existence and to show them how to conquer it and be their true selves. So that is the Sony and the Life Drinkers. This is the third. There are going to be 4 in this particular series of books, and each one of them is just a thrill a minute. And it also has, it's just got really nice. It's a nice size font, it's easy to read, and it's also just action-packed. So for those kids who just need to have that something happening on every page, this is a book for them. So this is Sony and the Life Drinkers. Now, Sony is a wonderful girl power kind of thing. So let's talk about another girl power sort of story. Let's go to France, shall we? So we're gonna go a little bit north, a little bit west of Kenya, and we're going to go to the land of forgotten tales where Rebel Adele is going to conquer all. This is a new graphic novel series. This is the best-selling graphic novel series in France for young people. And it's finally coming here to the US, and we're so excited that it is. It's set to be released here in May. We'll see if that actually happens. We're hoping that that will. But this is a book that is just so beautifully produced, and it's just so much fun. She has got a lot of attitude. This is a heroine she does have red hair like Marita, and she is pretty unstoppable like Marita, but she also has a fair amount of attitude too, which makes her so much fun to read. And she and her friends are going to conquer the world. And in this case, they're going to go into the land of forgotten tales and fix all those fairy tales. They seem to have gotten muddled somehow, and they need to be brought back, and maybe not the same way they were before, maybe a little bit better. Let's hope that that's how it happens here. So this is Rebel Adele, and don't worry, it will be in English when it comes here. This is the French version, but I wanted to show you how pretty it is.
Are they fairy tales we're familiar with?
Oh, I think you'll find them familiar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you'll get there. So that is from Ablaze Comics. So look for this from Ablaze. Ablaze is the publisher of Mr. Invincible, and if you don't know that graphic novel, check it out. It was also the winner at the big Angoulême, which is the graphic novel festival, comics arts festival in France, that is the biggest one of the year. So that one's really cool. And I have yet more girl power. Yes, let's hear for girl power. In this case, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Faiza is a Fighter is our next one, and this is by Despamina Dasgupta. And she was one of the finalists for the Kirkus Prize for Illustration a few years ago. And Faiza wants to, she gets this really special birthday present. And, Rocco, when you're wanting a birthday present, what do you want? What is something that you would like people to give to you?
A cashmere sweater.
A cashmere sweater, that sounds lovely. Now, as it happens, cashmere is where this author is from. That wasn't planned at all. No, not at all. So, but what she wants is boxing gloves, right? So Faiza, there's a strong tradition of girl boxers in their community and in her family, and she is going to do that. And they learn that in history that this is something that has happened in the past, and she wants to recapture that glory, and she practices hard. And some people make fun of her because, girls shouldn't box, right? They shouldn't be strong. And their father is her coach, and he really helps her get through it. And then on the day before the big tournament, there's an avalanche. I mean, this is northern India, so those are really high mountains, and avalanches happen. So he's unable to get to them, and it's going to take them days to clear the rubble. So she has to decide, is she going to be able to go through it with the tournament or not? And the other kids are like, you can't do it without him here. You know, I try to make her feel less rather than more. But she gets in touch with her inner Faiza, who we see right here, who is part of her heritage. And she is encouraged to go on for it. And you know what? In the end, she is a winner because Faiza is a fighter. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And this is from Soaring Kite Books, which was just purchased by Learner Books. But they do books that are just wonderful books from around the world. And you've got one.
Yes.
From,
From Soaring.
From Soaring Kite Books. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Saif. Special patches. Patchwork quilt. Yes, some of you may, well, I think I'm talking to kids. I'm talking to grown-ups on this show here. We all know a patchwork quilt.
Do we though? Maybe you should.
Well, some people will take pieces of cloth that mean something to them.
Right.
And create a blanket or a quilt.
Sure.
And they'll have little squares. And I was thinking of doing one with all my bow ties or something like that, all the ones that I don't wear anymore. But
there
anyway, yes. So our character in this book is, people call him shy, and he doesn't think he's brave, smart, persistent, and helpful. But what he does, or what his mom does, is takes pieces of cloth from different garments when he was brave, smart, persistent, and helpful, and makes a quilt for him to help him be those qualities.
Gets patches too from people he admires, like his brother, who
really
works academically.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a beautiful patchwork.
It'll be nice for my quilt.
Sorry.
So anyway,
you have to fight me for it.
Okay, but anyway, that is, so it is, a very heartwarming
And another
story.
thing that is involved in this book is at the very end, you see all the patches have been done by all the generations, and the little boy in this one actually becomes a quilter at the end.
Oh.
People think of that as being a woman's art, but actually can be practiced by men too.
Yes,
So
well,
that's
here
good.
he is, right?
Yeah, breaking those stereotypes.
Right, there you go.
Speaking of breaking stereotypes, I have the girl who wore pants. Shocking. Shocking, shocking, shocking. But it was shocking in the late 19th century, early 20th century, when Luisa Capetillo was living. And there's also, this book is also available in Spanish. We have it right back there. Yes, over my shoulder, so you can see it there. So Luisa Capetillo was not somebody who really wanted to do the thing that everybody expected her to do. So let's see here. So all the other girls, they're working on her samplers. Is Luisa? No, Luisa is not thrilled about this at all. And she loves her native Puerto Rico, and she enjoys learning about it. She loves to read. And most of all, she loves running through the wild spaces in her pants. And then she finds out that it is illegal for her to wear pants. Did you know that?
No,
it was
I didn't.
illegal to wear pants for girls in Puerto Rico, and probably in lots of other places too at this time. So what does she do? She sues for the right to wear her pants. And she wins that right. And then after she wins the right to wear pants, she becomes an activist for women and for labor relations. And you can see her here reading books to the people working on the cigars in the factories there. And she is quite the inspiration for all people. And this is Women's History Month, so it's a good time to remember Luisa Capetillo in Puerto Rico and around the world, because she is a woman who stood up for what she believed in from the time she was a small girl and just wanted to wear pants so she could run. And that is the girl who wore pants. And you got something else from Nube Ocho.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Nube,
should mention,
yes.
everything Nube Ocho does in English, they also do in Spanish.
For example, yes,
Yes.
here they are. That time I turned into a worm, and here's the Spanish version right here. You know, we all think we have problems. But
Yes.
yes, yeah, but Rita, yeah, she goes out, into the vegetable garden. And the next thing she knows, she's turned into a worm. And why? Why?
Why?
Why? I don't know why. And she receives a letter addressed to the girl who's turned into a worm. Yes,
Yeah.
and that letter's helpful. It's telling them, where she has to go to the eggplant tower, far off, to the far off eggplant tower. Yes, to turn back into a human girl. But this book is filled with puzzles and answers to questions and cracked riddles. And yes, that helps. Like right here, it asks a question. What do you think is under the leaves? Okay, you kind of have to go back and look closely at the illustrations to answer the question. So this is a fun book because
Yeah,
there's
and it's
so
up
much.
to you to turn her back into a person.
Yes.
The reader has to do that.
Yes. So please don't have her stay a worm. Get the book and help Rita turn back into a girl.
And if you want to help that, then please comment below and you might win the book bundle and you can get the book and help her turn back into a human girl.
And use the hashtag.
It is.
Yeah,
You want to say it?
Spotlight Showcase 25.
There you go.
Ba-boom, yes.
Next up, we have Whisper from Scallywag Press. And this is about, when you think of dragons, you probably think of big, mean things that are like in The Hobbit. But not all dragons are like that. In this case, they can be extremely cute. I mean, look at this little guy. He's so darn cute, and his name is Whisper. Aww. So this is Whisper the dragon. And Whisper, oops. Here's Whisper the dragon. Whisper's family is kind of rambunctious. And when they get bored or they just want to have a good time, they decide to scorch the mountainside. They just set it afire, they burn all the trees, and before you know it, there's nothing left. And guess what? The other animals who live there are not happy about this. And they talk to Whisper, and Whisper talks to other animals, and they come up with a plan, and they put together a twig that he can use to do a picture, and they get some ink together with some crushed berries and a feather to be able to paint, and they draw a picture for, we're almost there, for his family to show what is happening to their community and how all the other animals are having to leave because everything is burnt down to the ground. So they do that, and then his relatives, and this is where it is truly fiction, say, "You're right, little dragon, who's so sweet and kind. We will not do that anymore, and everybody will be able to come back. Would that we were all like Whisper and Whisper's family who listens eventually," even though he was talking in just a little whisper. And that is Whisper the Dragon from Scallywag.
And Scallywag, I love the name, Scallywag.
Scallywag
Oh, oh, oh.
Press, yes.
Yes, and here we have a chapter book here, and it is called Ivy Newt and the Storm Witch by Derek Kelty and Magna Brohl. And it is a chapter book, but it is very nicely illustrated that takes us on the Ivy Newt's adventures with the Storm Witch. And the question is, who will be successful? Will it be Ivy Newt or will it be the Storm Witch? I'm not really sure because I have to get to the end of it. Yes, but she has other people helping out too.
She has other people helping her, and this is one of the best-selling chapter book series in the UK.
So it is a series.
It's a series.
This is the first.
It's the first one. There's more to come. And actually, I think that the author might be visiting KidLit TV in a couple months.
I think I may have heard that, yes.
Derek Kelty. Yeah.
Derek Kelty. Hey, Derek, we can't wait to see you here on KidLit TV.
Tell us more about Ivy Newt.
Ivy Newt, yes. And I want to know about a witch's broom, okay? Maybe I'll bring a witch's broom. Yes,
Oh,
for
that
that
sounds
show.
cool.
Yes, I have to go and find it. Okay, yes.
You've got the next book, too.
I have the next book, too, I am told, which is, a Purim story. How many people know about Purim? Well, if you don't, this is a great book to teach you. It's called Max's Mask. And it's a Purim story, but it's also a story about being new at a school. And Max shows up at school wearing a costume right there. Right, and there he is on his first day of school. But they then talk about Purim, and this book also tells us about the Jewish holiday of Purim and the role that Queen Esther played in the holiday, and also why you dress up in costume for Purim. And and this is a whole story about choosing a costume, and which people have that same problem for Halloween too, and what to wear, and people that decide to wear the same costume. So on Purim, you have several Queen Esthers dressing up.
A whole court full.
Yes. So that's...
Well, and Max doesn't want to take off the costume because it makes him feel more confident.
That's right. He's hiding behind that, but he finally does. Yes.
Yeah, he comes into his own.
Right.
So, and that's from a publisher named Kalaniot, who is based in Pennsylvania. And all their books are about Jewish faith and culture, and a lot of them are about the Jewish diaspora. And they just do such a beautiful job. And this is another one from them that I really enjoy. This is called Yes, We'll Do It, and it's about a community coming together to do good things. And here the good deeds just never stop. So we have two kids who are going on a parade. I mean, they're not going on a parade, they're going to their music lesson, but it becomes a parade. In a quiet town between here and there on a pleasant day with weather fair, a sister and brother walked on their way to their music lesson far, far away. And so they go in, and here's the parade. And then before you know it, they've shown up someplace else. And they've got a new person who's helping, and that's a barber with his comb. And they go by someplace else, and they help. And there's a baker who needs help, and he's helping with the hair drying. How does this all work together? You're just going to have to read it because it is very, very cumulative. This is a beautiful cumulative story. So there we go. This is a baker who is doing gorgeous things with her skill set. Then we have the clown. Then we have so many other things. Everybody comes together. And the kids, though tired from the pace, were glad to help in another's place. So they were able to help in all the things. Yes, we'll do it. The characters are happy to lend a hand to one another whenever help is needed. This is a reminder of how important it is to look out for one another and use our skills to benefit other people. According to ancient Jewish teachings, all the people of Israel are responsible for one another. So that's just part of the message of this wonderful book. And yeah, that's kind of a way we all should live. We should help one another, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there is that. And speaking of helping one another.
Is it story time?
It's story time. Who's ready for story time?
I am, yes. I'm not leaving.
You're not leaving, you're just getting a drink. It's
no,
okay.
I'm just getting my pile here.
Just getting your pile organized. Well, let's talk about Frank's Red Hat from Walker Books Australia. And I'm just going to show off this beautiful book. Excuse me for taking off the jacket to make this easier. And let's get started with Frank's Red Hat. There once was a penguin called Frank, and he was known for doing things differently. Frank was full of ideas. Sometimes his ideas were good. Hey! Give that back. But most of the time, they were not. That's why the other penguins were nervous the day Frank wore a red hat. You see, the penguins lived in a cold and colorless world. They'd seen plenty of black rocks. They'd seen plenty of white snow. They'd seen plenty of black rocks covered in white snow. But the penguins had never seen a red, they'd never seen a red anything before. It made them very nervous. What's that? A penguin called Neville asked. It's a red hat, said Frank. Oh, said Neville. Is it dangerous? No, it is perfectly safe. Oh, what's it for? It's for keeping your head warm in style. Oh. Here, said Frank, you try it. I'm not sure I want to, said Neville. I promise you it'll be fine, Frank reassured him. But Neville was not fine. Just then, a killer whale leaped from the icy ocean depths and ate Neville in one big bite. And despite Frank's further reassurance that the whale had nothing to do with it, with the hat, the penguins weren't taking any chances. You can see them all leaving. It's very sad. So there he is with his red hat. Frank was disappointed. He left his new idea lying in the snow. Back to the drawing board, he sighed to himself. And we're going to skip a few pages because I don't want to be sued. And it turns out that somebody did love his hats, and it was the seals. Who knew? Seals love colorful hats. We all do, said the seal, and you can see them all wearing all of Frank's gorgeous hats. Frank had finally had an idea the others loved. The colorful hats still made the pigeons nervous. I said pigeons, but I meant penguins. But Frank didn't mind anymore. He wasn't going to let a few nervous penguins stop him from doing what he loved best. So Frank kept sharing his ideas. I call it... I need a drum roll. Can you do a drum roll? That's enough. The scarf. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Wow. Thank you, everybody. Ooh. Ideas that brought warmth and wonder in this white winter world. And that is Frank's red hat. Thank you.
Whoa, terrific.
Yes, and the next book we have is Twigs and Stones. Hello. So that last book was from Walker Books Australia. This book is from New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
We're just spending a little bit of time down where it's, Southern Hemisphere. So that's not a bad thing. So Twigs and Stones is by Joy Cowley. Now, Joy Cowley who is the most important picture book writer in the United States.
You're testing this.
It could be so many different people. Anyway, she's that person for New Zealand. So, and then Gavin Bishop is a wonderful illustrator who seems to reinvent himself with every single book. In this case, we have Twigs and Stones is about this snake and this lizard who are best buds. So they live in a hole together, as, best friends do often. And Lizard has this great idea. Gosh, I wonder where this is going to go. So he has this great idea to make names over their hole, so that people will know it's their hole. Of course, everyone knows it's their hole, but it's okay. So he does, and it says snake and lizard, ta-da! But it was just done with a little bit of mud and some sticks and twigs and stones and things like that. And it all falls down, and when he puts it back up again, it doesn't say snake and lizard anymore. Instead, it says sneak and lizard. Now, Lizard laughed a little at his mistake, but Snake was not amused. He hissed. Snake hissed even louder. Yes, good participation there. So in the morning, the sun was shining on the names when Snake and Lizard emerged. And guess what Snake did? Snake figured out how to change it to sneak and liar. Oh no, when friends start calling each other names in public, that's not good. That is really not good. So they learn how to patch it up, and they decide to change the name to Friendship. Yay. And then she sighed happily, let's have quail's eggs for breakfast. And they hurry down to their hole to have a lovely breakfast. And they start off by being friends with a big F. They go to being friends with a little f, and it goes back to being a big F in the end. So that's why it's friendship with a capital F at the end. Yay. Twigs and Stones. Now, take us.
Yes, you're going to F. So I have D for
yes.
Diggers, dozers, and dumpers. Yes, from Gecko Books.
Yes. Also from Gecko Press. Yeah.
Yes, and young children just love machinery. And this is a book about machinery, but there's a story also. So it's small stories about big machines. And people will be fascinated by some of the machines. I was fascinated by this crane right here, or yes, a very large one, yes. And one of the stories, we have some mice that want to move their house. And so they say, well, we'll use some machinery. We'll use a flatbed truck to move the machinery. Well, the flatbed truck was, the house was nothing for the flatbed truck.
Right.
But yeah, so there's loads of fun illustrations here, and people, well, children, readers, that are into machinery will just be into this book and the stories.
They will. And Ulla Kanecki, who's the author, illustrator of this book, just has magic. He won the Irma Black Award from the Bank Street for the best picture book. And everything he does is just so clever and fun and just hilarious to read aloud. Even this, which is kind of got some nonfiction content and sounds good, which came out last year and had some great nonfiction content.
On the count of
really
three,
funny.
we'll say his name again, right?
Right,
1, 2, 3.
Ulla
Ulla Kanecki.
Yes, there you go. Wow, well done, Rocco.
Yes.
Very, very nice. So, yes, I'm an Ulla Kanecki fan. Next up, I am a fan of this series too. It's the How Do series from Flower Pot Books. There are 30 books in this series, believe it or not. And I'm sure you've probably seen some of these. How does data become drawings? Just won a Mathical Award. They did how do birds sing a duet? How do ants survive a flood? Well, in this one, it's How Do Fires Protect Nature, a book about fire ecology. I think in these days when you learn that fire is becoming so, it's just so prevalent that you have to learn how to manage it. And this is a book about that specific thing. And I think that the illustrations are so kid-friendly that anybody is going to learn things from this and really be sucked in. So as you can see here, how do natural and, I can't read it, prescribed fires create habitats? Well, this is something we all should know about because you don't think about fires actually being helpful, but sometimes they can be. And a prescribed fire means one that is planned to help habitats. And this is how do plants and animals stay safe during fires? Well, this is a wonderful and interesting paragraph right here, a space here. So lots of good, interesting things. Plants are repaired. How do fires help grow food? That's very, very important. And how do prescribed fires help prevent more destructive fires? That is a piece I feel like a lot of people need to read because there are some people who feel like we should just make sure every fire is immediately extinguished, but sometimes they do need to burn a little bit. So that is that. And then some other useful tips to make sure your house is safe from wildfire. So lots of great information in here that actually could save your life depending on where you live. So not a bad thing. This is from Flower Pot Press. Check out the whole series. And also this one's available in paperback too.
Terrific.
I know,
yes.
Great. Now before we go on to that one, nope, we do have that one next. You're right.
I'm right.
You're right.
Say that again.
You're right. You're right, Rocco.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anytime. You're right.
Yes, one of my favorite publishers, What on Earth Books, and this is the greatest stuff on earth. Greatest stuff on earth. We talk about good back matter and index and glossary and things like that.
Yes.
But we haven't mentioned the table of contents. Now, this table of contents is the first thing I looked at, and I said to myself, what do I want to what great stuff do I want to find out? And there's like nature stuff and the coolest feats and life-giving light. But then I said, fabulous food. That's what I want to know about is fabulous
I'm not surprised.
food. Yes. And so I go, what am I going to learn about fabulous food? And
Is that fire that we just saw in the last book?
well, there's fire right there, but it is So they're talking about cooking, and pots and pans. What interesting stuff could there be about a pot or pan? Well, what did I learn? I learned that in some indigenous American cultures, they use a basket similar to this one, the one in the photo here. Wow. Yes. To actually, what do they actually do? They actually boil stuff in the basket. So that must be
They can boil water in that basket?
It must be a very, very, very tightly weaved book.
It's incredible.
Then they have bonus stuff like this right there. This little bonus stuff. Yes. Yeah. What does that say? I'll tell you what it says. It says, whole grains are full of nutrients and energy, which cooking helps release. Plus, they contain fiber, a complex carbohydrates that your body can't digest. The fiber passes right through your system and helps you poop.
Well, this
Ba-boom.
is the perfect bathroom book.
It is the perfect bathroom book.
Yes, full of these nice little factoids and, just a reminder to add fiber to your diet.
That's right.
Yeah, there
Keep
you
healthy.
go. That's true. Now, also from What on Earth Books and Britannica Books, we have Epic Factopia, which is Follow the Trail of 400 Extreme Facts. Now, I'm kind of sad to tell you this is the final Factopia book, but it is so full of really, really cool stuff that everybody's going to know. Now, this is for the kid who loves nonfiction, loves those little factoids that show up everywhere, and is fascinated by how they go on. Hey, and here's a fun thing. So you follow the trail. In this case, it's the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, and it is a series of 40,000 interlocking columns of basalt rocks. Is named for a mythical giant that supposedly hurled the rocks into the sea to build a path that would reach another giant in Scotland. And then you can follow the fact along this way, or you can skip to another page, 168, to find more about myths. But in this case, let's go over here in Costa Rica. A meteorite once struck a doghouse, just missing the snoozing pooch inside. And you can turn the page and find out about bunkers where you can survive terrible things that could happen in the world. Fires or who knows what terrible things. So it just lets you follow your curiosity wherever you want to go. Another good bathroom book. So you could open it up anywhere and find something really super fascinating. Let's see what's on this page. The world's largest statue, the Statue of Unity, is in India. It is taller than 36 giraffes standing on top of each other. Not in a group, because that wouldn't be that tall, but yes. So that is in India. And then artist A. Weiwei created an artwork made up of 100 million tiny pieces of porcelain, each individually painted to look like a sunflower seed. Wow. And then another Japanese artist, Azuma Makoto, once set a bonsai tree into space and kept it suspended before using a helium balloon. I mean, can you believe that? A bonsai tree in space? It's amazing. It's just amazing. Now,
My list, hopefully my list is correct.
it is not quite correct yet. So let me tell you about Giant, which is a book coming to us from Little Island Press. So Giant, I mean, how many people here are fans of C.S. Lewis? If you love C.S. Lewis and you would love to have a little bit more C.S. Lewis in your life, then comment below and you might win the book bundle that could possibly have the book I'm about to talk about in that bundle. It's called Giant by Judith McQuad, and her grandfather grew up in Belfast at the same time that C.S. Lewis, whose childhood name was Jax, was growing up there. And she did a lot of really intensive research on his childhood, and then she wrote this historical fiction piece about C.S. Lewis. And imagine what it would be like if he had actually met up with somebody like her grandfather, who was an artist and had very full of imagination, but was from a different economic background. So this is that story of what C.S. Lewis as a child may have been like and what the imagining might have been. And there's a lot of real facts about Jack's life in there. And I think anybody who's a fan of C.S. Lewis, anyone who loves anything to do with Ireland, anyone who is just loves to think about how kids get to explore their imaginations together and watch that unfurling process, especially in somebody who grew to be one of the best-selling fantasy writers of all time, C.S. Lewis, with the Chronicles of Narnia. Just beautiful and fascinating, and I think you will enjoy Giant by Judith McQuad, which is a middle grade novel coming to us from Little Island Books. And now Rocco is going to tell us about Meep, which is a picture book. Meep.
Yes.
Meep. Yes.
And it's about space exploration and visiting other planets, and about sending a robot called Meep.
Meep.
Meep up to Mars. And Meep is a very endearing, although it's a robot, it's a very endearing, and takes photos searching for life on Mars, and kept sending photos back. And the scientists back on Earth are very fond of Meep, until one day it all stops. And they are heartbroken. Is that the end of the story? No. No, she says.
No.
Okay, and that's why you should pick up Meep to find out what happens.
It's from I feel like Meep is a first cousin to the wild robot, and maybe Wall-E as well. So if you like those stories, this is a beautiful picture book, again from an Irish writer that is just so well done. And while we're talking about outer space and journeys to other planets, let's talk about a journey to our closest neighbor, the moon. And this is a book called Mission Moon, an illustrated guide for space exploration, not for space exploration, although that might come later. Comes to us from Helvetique Publishers, based in Switzerland. And this is such a beautiful nonfiction graphic. It's almost graphic nonfiction. In a way, it's mixed media for sure, mixed text types. But it tells us everything we can think about in terms of the moon. So how far it is, what its place is, and our mythology and our history, the phases of the moon, what we know about the moon, how we got to the moon, different ways we tried to get to the moon, the first things to go to the moon, the first people to go to the moon, and things you may not know, even if you've been around for a while. Like I was today years old when I found out there's a Chinese space station. So did you know that, Rocco?
No.
You were today years old when you found that out too, huh?
Did you say today years old?
Yeah, today years old. Yeah. It's a thing. So there it is. There's the Chinese space station. They're there. So there you go. And then at the end, we also have information about the space junk, because it is there.
Junky.
Yes, it is. Chaos in orbit. So lots of things floating up there that kind of have been left there because we've just been shooting stuff up there for years and years and years. So this is, again, it's from Helvetique, and there's great information here, and even an educator's guide. So if you're a teacher, and a glossary, so great back matter, and that is Mission Moon. Now you have something a little bit smaller than this to talk about next.
Yes, very small.
Yes.
And you know who is overlooked during the holiday season when you're
not forever.
No. During holiday time when you're giving gifts to teachers, the school nurse is many times overlooked, right? And I don't know, but this is a book that she would appreciate, is Lice, How to Survive on Humans. It is a comprehensive book about lice and how they lived, and the misunderstood insect. And it has so many interesting facts that if you use some of these facts, you might avoid having them become your friend, which we don't want to, nothing against lice, but we really don't want to help feed them. And they like to feed off of us.
Well, it is a guide on how to survive on humans.
Yes. So if you read this and do everything opposite, you can probably avoid having lice.
And I feel like we should explain that this orange color here that you're seeing, it's much more orange than this. It's kind of almost neon colored. So imagine that And the fact it doesn't quite burn your eyeballs, but it's not too far from that.
It catches your eye.
It does catch
Yes,
your eye.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah,
but you don't want to catch lice. So
No,
yes, there you
no,
go.
no,
Did you know that that's one of the most, that is one of the most Googled questions. I saw that somewhere that, how do you take care or get rid of lice?
I'm not going to ask.
You're not going to go to ask that? Well, I don't think you're having that issue, but yes. Anyway, but you do have the next book, Rocco.
I have no hair. Yes, yes, yes.
This is the time when that's okay. The fall weekly challenge.
Yes. Diary of a Bee.
Yes.
I enjoy this so much because I learned so much from your books, and so this is the Diary of a Bee, and. I always knew about worker bees, but I just thought, they were a one-job bee. No, they kind of get promoted every so many weeks to another job, and who knew? And but the job to have is the bee queen.
Well,
yes,
but you don't get promoted to that. You're born that.
Yes, right. Or be a male bee. But even that, you die after,
Thanks, Rocco.
Yes, with the queen. But anyway, it is a fun book, but you learn so much about.
I love the
bees.
diary format of it too.
Yes,
that it's like this is
yes.
the first
day
week.
4, day 31 in the hive. There's plenty of space here in the hive again, and the new queen too, having only recently hatched. She's still young, but she's also clever and kind, just like our former queen. Yes. So
you learn a lot, but also it's been anthropomorphized to some degree.
Yes.
But the illustrations are great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The queen's. Oh, here. I went backwards. There's
show us the queen.
The former queen went after she passes
there she
away.
is.
Yes. But anyway,
the queen is dead. Long live the queen.
Queen. It's a little colony. Yes. Yeah. There
Beautiful.
it is. Yes.
And that is from Albatross.
Albatross.
Books, who is based in Czechia. So we are truly going all around the world. And this is What's Love All About, Mini Moni. Now, you may think Mini Moni is a really weird name. And actually, Moni is short for Monica. And Mini is because she's kind of short. So she's a mini Moni, which is incredibly cute. So think, what does she look like? Well, here she is with her cute little dog. And she's hearing all the grown-ups talking about love. I mean, it seems very, very mysterious to her, and she's trying to understand it, and she's doing all the things. I love how she's watching Casablanca on TV, because I feel like that's where I first learned about love, was from watching Casablanca on TV, or maybe it's where my kids first learned about it, who knows. Anyway, you can see love can't be seen or smelled or touched, it can't even be painted. So how do they even know what it is? You can feel her frustration, she's trying to learn it, and she explores all the different ways, and then finally, she discovers some ways you can find it, which is hugging makes me feel good. Does it have anything to do with that? And then you move on to the next part. You do? See, really you do? And I love this dinosaur with cleats playing soccer. Or maybe love just means being kind to people or taking care of important things. I love how here Mini Moni is a superhero doing her recycling. So thank you for that, Mini Moni. And also, what if love is just sharing really special moments? And that is a moment I'm sure many of us can relate to who read to our children. Did you ever fall asleep before your kids did when you were reading to them?
I fall asleep all the time.
Same, yes, true that. But I'm sure that my kids would really relate to this one. So, and I love how the little dog is on top of this huge pile of books here. So, yes, that is clearly a thing there. And saying it out loud, I love you, little plant. I love you, bicycle. I love you, strawberry cream cakes. I love you, little rabbit. That's it. Now it makes sense. What makes sense? Maybe all those things together are love, and if so, Max, can you imagine filling the whole world with love? And of course, because I sure can. And there we see the whole world filled with love. And to that, I just have to say, I love you, KidLit TV.
Thank you. And we're in the home stretch at hashtag Pub Spotlight Showcase 25. remember to comment to win a huge book bundle curated from today's showcase. Is it my turn?
No, it's my turn because I'm talking about the emotional books. Okay. So we just had Love, and now we have The Circus of Shadows. This is by Lydia Brankovic, who did Grand Hotel of Feelings, which has been translated into I don't know how many languages, probably 15 by now. And this is her second book, and that feeling inside, you know that feeling. You feel like your shadow is always there with you, and sometimes it acts up and it doesn't always behave and does different things, and like, what's that about? That's a little bit weird. Here you can see it. And this is about a little girl who decides to go into a dark place because shadows disappear in the dark, don't they? Well, not always. This one picks her up and takes her someplace.
Whoa, yes.
And she goes to this circus of shadows. And at first it seems scary, but eventually
It's a little shadowy.
the shadow helps her because her shadow is actually kind of her friend too. And together they do all these amazing tricks, and they learn these things about each other, and they can do all this powerful stuff together. And at the end of the day, they go back to the house, and the shadow may not be there exactly in the same way it was before, but she knows it's there, and she can work with it, and it's all a beautiful thing. And that is the Circus of Shadows. Sometimes you just have to embrace that part of you, and then you still have it with you, and that is okay too. And even when it acts up, it can sometimes be kind of fun.
And what song goes with this?
Well, tell me.
Just me and my shadow.
Okay. Thank you
That's
for
all we
that. Thank you for that. This is from Cicada Books based in the UK, and you've got another one from Cicada.
I do.
Yep.
This one, right?
Yes, that one. That's exactly it.
The one about the rise and fall of great empires that shaped the world. Ba-boom. Yes. So again, this table of contents, very helpful.
I know.
Yes. And so I went to the table of contents and checked out the great empires that I wanted to know about, and I chose. What did I choose? Because I like Scandinavia, so I said, let's go to the Vikings, 800 to 1050 AD, and to learn about their empire and their conquests.
Are you going to share it with
And
everybody else?
tell me no, it's very
you've
nice.
seen the book.
Yes, and their conquests.
There you go.
Yes, and what else? Yes, and their religion and mythology. Yes. And then the other one that I picked, I figured let's go around the world to the Aztec Empire here. And again, it tells us all about their civilization, their religion, and some other interesting facts and their downfall. Yes.
You know, I think Peter Allen is really off to a nice career as a nonfiction author illustrator, so I can't wait to see the next thing he does. And that table of contents was really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like Cicada does a great job with
You
that.
hear that, Peter Allen?
Yeah.
Yes. Ellen says you're on
Yeah,
your way.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think you're off to some really cool stuff. Now, this is Rise Up from Barefoot, Powerful Protests in American History. And you know that word I used earlier, semi-sesquicentennial? It is also appropriate next year for the 250th anniversary of our country. So this book is done partly in honor of that, and this one also has a very nice table of contents. I would like to propose a new award. If you're with me on this, then you can comment below. I'd like to call them the talkies for table of contents for the coolest, most informative, and the prettiest table of contents that you've seen. So I think that this would be a contender. I think you've seen a few contenders today. And let's see some of the things we got in this book, shall we?
Well, yes.
Yes. So this is the kind of thing Barefoot does so well. The books it's told in this wonderful lyrical style that can be enjoyed by young children. And then there are these great little tidbits of information off to the side for those people, those kids who need a little bit extra something. And then there's great back matter as well. So here you can see where when Marion sang at the Lincoln Memorial. And then we've got, let's see, this is about Rachel Carson and the fight against the pesticide that was killing all the birds and impacting the food chain. And a few more in here. And this book just came out, or it's just coming out the next week or so. This is about the ADA, so the Americans with Disabilities Acts, and this is the protest they launched in order to be able to gain that liberation. And then we have the Stonewall demonstrations, and and so many more. The shirtwaist, after the shirtwaist fire, the girls who worked in factories protesting that so that they would get equal rights. So they needed a Luisa Capetillo over here to help with that.
Right.
So this is just a few of the things included in Rise Up, Powerful Protests in American History. I feel like everybody needs this book right now. We all just need to know that it is our duty to the world to make sure that the world is just and fair. So on to you with another book from wonderful Barefoot Books.
Barefoot Books and Ramadan on Ramah Road. Yes, so there's a street where people from around the world happen to all celebrate Ramadan. And there's
Eid Mubarak. Eid Mubarak. So that's greetings. And
yes. And so it is a book of those people, and there are recipes that you can have at Ramadan from places like South Africa, and from Egypt.
Let's show some.
Yes, I'm supposed to be showing this, yes. Yes. Yes.
Almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there, yes. And so anyway, it is a book that you can use in school to have like a little cooking lesson and also learn about Ramadan.
And there are Muslim, communities all over the world, and I love how this book illustrates that through the food, and the end papers are fun too. I think this is
another
indie contender here. Yeah. We're talking to you, Travis Yonkers. So, yep. There you go. Isn't that fun?
Yes.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I have a new book from Manga Classics. So this is Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Scarlet. Now, you know these books. They've been coming out with new editions of these new books for years and years. They've done many of the Shakespeare plays. They've done Les Miserables. They've done Pride and Prejudice. 250th anniversary. Anyway, they've done Pride and Prejudice. They've done actually all of Jane Austen's novels, I think, or most of them. And so many, Scarlet Letter, lots of books like that. This is the first time they've done Sherlock Holmes, and they've done something different this time they've never done with Manga Classics. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, what?
What they've done is they've added color.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, there's color. So it is absolutely gorgeous, and we are very, very excited to have this available finally. So this Sherlock Holmes Study in Scarlet, how appropriate that it be in color when it's a study in scarlet, which, as many of you know, if you're Sherlock Holmes fans, is the first, I guess, a novella, you would say, featuring the Sherlock Holmes character from Arthur Conan Doyle. And it is absolutely gorgeous. And check it out. This is amazing. And we got some more manga for you.
Yes, this is a manga biography. You know Snoopy, you know Peanuts.
Of course.
But how many of you know Charles Schulz, the creator of those characters? Yes, well, here is a manga biography that, talks about the characters and the man behind that, from his early childhood to his success. Yes, and it's a great way to learn about a person's life.
And I love how they incorporate some of the original art in there, some of the sketches, and show his hand actually, drawing Snoopy.
Yes.
How fun is that? And if you would like to win this and a selection of all these books, then of many of these books from today, then be sure to comment below. And that hashtag is Pub Spotlight Showcase 25. And last but not least, what do we have, Rocco?
I have the last book.
You have the last.
As I hit my microphone.
Yeah.
Yes. Farmer Evers' Green Garden Life. Yes, and this is from Readers to Eaters?
This is from Readers to Eaters, but what we've got here for our friends is a special audio clip from the brand new audiobook of this book.
Yes, so let's go to the audio.
My friend, Eva Somaripa, lives so close to the ocean, she can smell the sea. So close to woods, she can talk to trees. She farms one field in Massachusetts. From that small patch, she has grown a big green garden life of family, friends, neighbors, creatures that crawl, fly, squawk, slither, even microbes too tiny to see.
Well, that was fun. Yes, and that is from this book.
And it's from Live Oak Media, who, you know, I kind of feel like they're the Tiffany of audiobook producers.
Yes.
Everything they do is done with such beauty and just authenticity, and it's just good stuff. If you want a good audiobook read along, or they do some middle grade novels as well, Live Oak Media.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. And I've learned so much, as I mentioned. Yes. And until next time, remember to read a book in any format.